Here I'm taking a look at 5 great shmups on the PS4, starting with a genuine classic, Ikaruga. If you've not played this, why not? I first bought this for the GameCube, and I bought it for the Xbox, and now I'm playing on the PS4. It's a genuine classic. The main draw is switching between your ship being black or white. You can absorb shots of the same colour, and the opposite colour will kill you. Likewise, you do extra damage on ships of the opposite colour, but if you shoot ships of the same colour, fire comes back at you. This sounds reasonably simple, but once you've got multiple enemies on the screen, it really racks up the difficulty. And you've got to be trying to get combos of 3 ships of the same colour. There aren't many levels available, but they really do get challenging, and by the end it is a full-on bullet hell. Bosses are incredibly well designed, and if you want to reach those top scores and hit all the combos, you really need to memorize some of the patterns. You can just try and stay in the same colour, but your scores will be nowhere near good enough. All the bosses are very mixed and varied, and it's very rewarding when you do finally beat them. And the difficulty really does ramp up very quickly. I did used to be half decent at Ikaruga back in the day, but going back to it now, it's like learning it all again. If Ikaruga's a thoughtful game with an interesting mechanic, Ghostblade HD is the opposite. It's full on mental. You've got 3 different ships to choose from, each piloted by a scantily clad woman for some reason, and they each have slightly different firing techniques. But apart from that, the main aim is to fly forwards and shoot everything. This game, in the graphics, it maybe lacks the refinement of some of the other games on this list, and it can just be a bit crazy to actually work out what's going on, especially if you're watching it and not playing. But ultimately it is just good fun, straightforward bullet hell, shoot 'em up. There's a wide mix of different background graphics, which are stationary, but to be honest, there's so much going on top of them, you're not really going to notice whilst you're playing. And the enemies are varied, but they do repeat quite often. But again, there's so much going on, you haven't really got time to take too much in. Now the bosses, you'll hear that warning, and they've got the same music. and they're very mixed and varied, but ultimately just full-on bullet hell battles. Again, like Ikaruga, there are only I think 5 levels on this, but the challenge is getting through them all. As well as your normal weapons, you've got bombs, which just get rid of everything on the screen, but they don't last long and don't do that much damage, to be honest. But they can save you, get you out of a tricky situation. Next is Jamestown Plus, a game that's a bit, well, tries to be a bit story heavy, something I'm not that interested in really, in a shoot 'em up. But it's got a different setting to the standard space sort of settings you generally get, which is some weird science history remix where you're fighting the Spanish in the futuristic past. The retro graphics work well, nice mix of enemies and different music. What you normally, the retro graphics work really well, and the music fits in with the general theme. There are a number of difficulties to choose from, and you can see it really ramp up quickly. It's up to 4 players. Each ship has a fire, a special, and a vaunt, which absorbs enemy bullets. And then you can customize each ship with a different special weapon ability. So it does add a bit of allow you to mix up the game a bit, depending on how you want to play. The backgrounds are mixed and varied, and you'll see you flying through a number of different style levels. The bosses in Jamestown Plus, they're interesting enough, but I'd say nothing special, but the art style does sort of make up a lot for that. Next is Skyforce Anniversary Reloaded. This is the shmup I'd probably recommend to players new to the genre. The original Skyforce is brilliant, and this sequel just improves on it in every area really. It starts pretty simple, and at first you might think it's not going to be a challenge, but the difficulty levels really ramp up. And although it maybe doesn't venture into true bullet hell territory, it is a great challenge towards the end, or on the higher nightmare difficulty settings. And you'll hear this noise a lot as you pick up men, not in a weird way. You can upgrade your ship as you go on, so levels that were a challenge will suddenly become a breeze as you've upgraded your lasers and missiles. There are loads of levels which you don't often see on a shmup, and each level can be played at 4 different difficulty settings. Each level also has 4 different missions you need to complete before you unlock the next difficulty, and they're killing all the enemies, picking up all the men on the level, or surviving without being hit. You can take damage, so it's quite forgiving in that sense, and you've also got the ability to buy lasers, shields and mega bombs at the beginning of each level. There are also a number of different planes to be, each with their own characteristics and abilities. It just allows you to choose the right ship for the mission you're trying to accomplish. And here, as you can see, the shield and laser flying. You also find a number of different locations, from sort of classic jungle and underground to alien ship and deserts. And I think if I had to choose one shmup for a beginner to start playing, I'd probably choose this, because it sort of slowly ramps up the difficulty rather than some of the other games which see it going up pretty sharply. It all seems much more forgiving, and I think the graphical style makes it easy to see what's going on, and it just looks nice really. And also playing about the borders on the side of the screen is nice.
Great.
And then we've got Caladrius Blaze, another Japanese shmup. This one has a number of different characters, and each ship has its own abilities, and then these abilities can be customised later on, so you can pick and choose between the different ships, allowing for a great deal of strategy depending on your playstyle. There is a story to it, shown by the text at the beginning and end of the levels, but to be honest, I don't really see the point of story too much in shmups, but it's there if that's your sort of thing. Again, not too many levels, but they are all varied and there's a good mix of enemies. The bosses are great, classic sort of Japanese style here. Some crazy robot, and all the enemies seem to be piloted by young women, and this is one of the mechanics of the game which is a bit suspect, this shame break as they call it, whereas once you destroy a bar of health their clothes come off for some reason, and the same happens to you. If you lose a life, your clothes come off. It seems a bit of a suspect feature in the modern world, in this day and age I was going to say, but I don't know, it's there. I know some people might be into it, I think it's a bit weird. But all the gameplay is solid, so it's just there if you want to take any notice of it or not. And then yeah, at the end of a boss fight you get a little more story, and then more cartoons having their clothes ripped off, which again, if it's your sort of thing, fair enough, but it's a bit unnecessary really. At the end of the levels you get the chance to upgrade your ship depending on what chips you've collected. Just makes the ship stronger on your special abilities, and then Lydia blesses you. You get to unlock the galleries, which again, if you're interested, it's there and it's included, but I don't know, I'm never really interested too much in the art sort of thing. And as well as this, there's also pictures of the different ships and enemies, but if you're that interested, I doubt you're going to be looking at the ships and enemies. You can also go through and listen to the different songs and the different voice clips for each character. Again, I mean, that's not the sort of thing I'd be interested in, but it's there. And the music is actually pretty decent on this. And you can see here there's a few different weapons to choose from, and they do make a big difference in gameplay. It's not merely just a visual thing. So there are quite a few shmups available on PS4, but these 5 are all decent and I'd fully recommend them. They all offer something a bit different, but they're all good. This list's not in order or anything, it's just a mix of 5 really. I'll stop watching this, play some shmups.